Hello Team Happy Life Factory. Right, this week, Montreal. Bit of a squeeze this week, haven't had a lot of time. I've only been able to get in the car for about 20 laps. As you can see here. I'm going to go across my fastest one. I think these lines are the best. Might not be the quickest time. Might be able to shave a couple of attempts off in these weather conditions. Let me just show you the conditions. So the conditions are from the VRS Sprint. I'll try and get them shared in the Discord. And just make sure if you do load it up from VRS Sprint setup on their site, make sure you put it up to 80% track usage, just so you get more average track state than what we actually see in the endurance event. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to quickly play a full lap on board, and then we're going to go across the lap. Give me 2 seconds, let's get this all set up, and let's get that full screen. There we go. Right, 1 lap, Montreal.
2 litres left.
Okay, so that's I believe a 136.7. I find the endurance setup is about a good almost 7 tenths slower than the sprint setup. This track is definitely going to be a killer on the tyres, as the car does slide a lot. There's a lot of tyre dead going on. So I don't know if it will be I think it probably will be a change of tyres every stop. But don't hold me to that. I haven't had time to test a full race run yet. So let's go to previous lap. Let's get out the car and let's go into chase. Not far chase, let's go to chase. Okay, so turn 1. Turn 1's a tricky one. There's more than one line. The line I do here is not the preferred line I do actually, but it's very easy to adapt to. So what I'll do, we'll just bring it down to T1, keeping it to the right hand side, and I'm using this section of concrete here as my brake marker. It is easy to brake a bit deeper, but you end up going wider and you have to do a tighter line. If you want to keep it to the left hand side and do a later entry into turn 2, then I suggest braking a bit earlier here. I kind of do a mix of the both. So here I'm shifting down into second gear. So as I'm going in, I'm trying to clip this curb ever so slightly, and my steering was in the way. I shift down at first just to get the front end to dip forward, because I went in a bit too hot into this corner. I've gone too tight. What you can do, I would normally stay in second. You would go into... You'll probably be aiming for, when you exit this corner, keeping it a bit tighter to the left. Whereas going for a very tight experimental line I was doing all the way around to see if there was grip on this curb. It can give you around about the same lap time on the exit, but I found it a bit more difficult. So you can attempt that line if you want to. It's good in the race if you want to do something on the inside, but I would slightly do a come out a nice calmer exit on T1, stay to the left, and do a later turn into the right to open up the apex here. So I'm still in second. You just need to modulate the throttle through this section. So the whole of Montreal is very, very greasy, very, very slippery. I believe it's a road circuit. It's not a race circuit. It's a street circuit. So I'm quite lucky here to keep my power down. When the tyre pressures are really low, it will squirm a lot and very easy to get the traction control and then kill your speed. So going down here, we're shifting up into fourth gear, and just between these two shadows, these shadows aren't always here, so get a good reference point of timing between the 2 marker and the 1 marker. And we're braking very heavily, about 50-60%. You don't want to put too much brake on, you don't want to whack the brakes on, because we need the car nice and stable as we turn in onto an off camber corner here. The track dips away from you, so it's important that you kind of get on this curb. You could probably cut it a little bit more, but just the purpose of giving a consistent lap, that's what we're going for. So we're going through this section in 3rd gear. So we're going from 4th gear into 3rd gear as we enter this. Fine, if you drop into 2nd, the car will be too slow. You're not carrying as much speed as you could be. So I really do strongly recommend keeping it in 3rd and getting used to carrying the speed through, because it will hold if you get the line correctly, you come off the brakes correctly, and you can get on these curbs. So we're trying to bring it to the right. It's quite easy to cut a little bit here, but as you can see, it kind of puts me in a premature slide. It kicked the traction control in a little bit. It can be quick, but again, every lap, just go slightly wider. So what I do here, I do a cut line, but what I would do is try and keep it slightly more to the right and turn left a little bit later than I am. So that way you kind of change your axis around the corner. This section is not too bad. There's plenty of grip there. Just don't hit the wall or the grass. Okay, here, flat out. Turning nice and early. Get really close to the wall. Really nice and close. Get used to that. Okay, so here, I'm using, as the wall ends here, just before there's a shadow, I'm braking just before that. So I'm coming up towards it, and I'm braking in a straight line before I trail off the brake, and I'm going for a late apex, because this turns, there's a lot of S corners, a lot of chicanes on this circuit. So with a chicane, you want a tight left exit, so when you turn right again, you can open up that corner as much as possible. So here, we're going from 4th, I believe, into 3rd, and then, actually I'm not too sure. What are we doing? Let's just bring that back ever so slightly. Yeah, so we're going down from 4th gear. Yeah, 4th gear. 3rd, and then as we're turning in, going into 2nd, and as you can see, it's a very, very late apex. I'm hitting the curb because I'm trying to straighten this section out as much as possible. There's very little grip on the exit, and it can slide up very easily. So you want to be careful. You don't want to bounce on this curb, but you want to nip it, and then you want to take as little steering off as possible. You don't want loads of steering. You want the car to flow, but at the same time, you've got to keep it tight enough, because it's so easy to breeze along this wall and cause some serious steering damage. So let's bring this back out. As you can see here, get quite close to the wall. You have to get used to running the walls nice and close here. Again, any street circuit, you've got to maximise those exits, and if those walls are there, you just got to see them as a track limit and get used to riding them. So here, we're braking from 5th gear, and we're going down to 3rd. 2nd gear puts too much weight on the front and can cause you to bounce and damage the car on the curbs. 3rd gear is nice because you can gently get on the power as you're just going over the curbs, which lifts the front of the car up and makes the curbs much more easier to control. You don't want to be braking over the curb, so we're braking nice and gently, and then we're building it up as we hit the first shadow, and then we're bleeding off the brake into 3rd gear, turning in earlier than you think. You want to mount this first curb, get your 2 wheels in the middle of it. That bounce you up ever so slightly. You could take more and give it a more straight line, but I'm yet to perfect that. It's quite difficult. And here, you kind of want a straight line over it. Again, using it again. And when you are on these curbs, you want to be on the power, and steering the direction of the corner, so you can shift the weight away from the side of the car that's going on the curb. That makes the car easier to control over the curbs, and also can prevent any damage from happening to your splitters on the front. It's very easy to get the damage. So here again, you've got to be careful on the throttle when you apply it, but it's very easy to hit the wall. And I believe on this lap, oh, just on the limit. Didn't touch it, but that was right on the limit there. I thought I did touch that actually, but I didn't. Okay, and then we get flat out all the way up to 5th gear, and this hairpin, there's two ways you can go about it. You can do a nice tight all the way round apex. I prefer to do a late apex, go a bit deep, and then bring it back, like you're trying to undercut somebody. So we're braking at the 2 mark, just before the 2 marker, just after the 3. There's no point understeering here and going too deep because you're going to lose so much time down the straight. So it's always best to play it safe. So I do a nice late apex, so I can bring it in 1st gear, and then I go all the way out to the wall, trying to straighten up the steering as much as possible so you can get on the throttle as quick as you can, so you can maximize the speed down the back straight. Well, this is partly the main straight without the chicane put in there. So now I'm just going to play it through. Okay, so now we're coming up to the 4, the 3. I'm braking and I'm just letting off the power as I get to the 3, and I'm trying to get the braking done as gently as possible, so when I bleed off the brake there's as little weight transfer in the car as possible, so you can get a nice stable run through the last chicane. So we don't want to end up in the World Championship. As you can see, 80% brake pressure, bringing off the brake over the first curb. Really going to have to ride it here, so it's really important you're not carrying too much speed. So we're going through this in 3rd gear. We're going from 5th to 3rd. 2nd, again, the car will slow down too much. Too much weight will go to the front, and then you've got a good chance of damaging the front end as you go back over the curbs. But also, 2nd gear is too responsive on the throttle. So if you get on the power too quickly here as you're going over these bumps, because the car is still settling, it's very easy for the rear of the car to slide, the traction control to kick in, and very easy to hit into the wall of champions. So we want to kind of straight line it to the next section, and just as you can see, I'm just shifting the car very quickly to the left so I can get the weight transference, and because I can't get on the throttle here because I'm still carrying the speed and I can't possibly carry anymore, it's very important I get the shift of the weight of the car to the right hand side before I hit here, because I haven't got the use of the throttle as I'm already carrying maximum speed. And here, back on the throttle on the exit, use all of the exit, use all of the off rail near the World of Champions, and then we're flat out to the start finish line. Okay, so that was a 136.7. I'm very sure many of you could knock some time off of that. Some of you are becoming savagely quick right now, and I know a lot of you can get very close to this now. So in the practice sessions, I'm sure I'll figure out some new lines. And again, if you are in the practice sessions and I'm in there, please just drop me a private message if you want a quick private chat talking about any ways we can improve your driving, or just drop me a message in the Academy chat or request from myself or Sasha to join the Simulation Motorsport Academy, which is in the Team Happy Life Discord. Okay, right, see you all in the practice sessions this week. Happy racing, and from Team Happy Life Factory and myself at Simulation Motorsport, good luck, take care, see you in the race.